Welcome to Shambhavi Spectrum Marketing Magic Industry Insights. It is my personal pleasure to have here with me Rashi from Giftopoly. And of course, Giftopoly means gifting. We met because of that. And yes, there were synergies because we are also into gifting with So a Gift and with Giftopoly. It was such a pleasure, the gifts that we made, and the person who received it was so happy, Rashi. I mean, I need to thank you all over again publicly for this.
No, no, please. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Rashi. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Shambhavi, for having me. It's such a pleasure talking to you always. And we've just had such a good time working on everything together. I mean, I've ordered things from you, and so a gift is amazing too. And it's amazing when we talk, and it doesn't feel like a customer, talking. So, like you said, the synergies are great. So.
So it has been all about personalized and customized, which is my tagline as well. So tell me about yours, about your journey. How did Giftopoly come about? And let's start with how old is Giftopoly actually?
So it's fairly new. We started in lockdown. The reason how it happened was because so I've been into business. I've been an entrepreneur since I started my career in working. I did my undergrads also in entrepreneurship from Boston, and my MBA was finance in the US. But I always wanted to come back to Dubai and start a family business and join my dad and do something of my own. So I started something called Mini Golf, glow in the dark mini golf, which was in Wafi Mall, and we were doing fine, and we were running that for a long time, and then unfortunately lockdown happened and the virus happened, and in during the COVID we were not able to continue our entertainment business because nobody was obviously allowed, and with the rents and everything was pretty high. So we were all in lockdown. I was stuck at home with the kids, and I'm a board game fan. I've been playing board games for a long time, and I love playing those. So I got my kids into it. My daughter is 9 years old, and she was very happy playing board games with me. And all of a sudden we just said, let's personalize this, and let's make a game that is for us. So we were playing Monopoly, and you have the properties and everything in that. So we actually ended up making our own properties and our own names, and we made a Uno, which was with our pictures on it, and it was a really fun idea. So we just did that for ourselves, and then I said, why not give this kind of personalization to everyone else, because playing games is fun, and then having it personalized is even more fun, and the captions and all the messages that you can do on it makes it more personal. And because I was into the business field, I already had a general trade license, and we checked on with the gifting options and how we could add on the services. So it was pretty straightforward to get it incorporated. So that's how it turned into a business overnight. So,
It's so amazing because entrepreneurship is in your blood. That was your calling, and that's where you reached. So
yeah.
somewhere down the line, I will ask you this question as a woman, as an entrepreneur, and how do you feel about it? But right now, I want to know about the. You said that you just Monopoly, you personalized it. The
Mhm.
cards, you personalized it. So you anything when you say you personalize, it comes at a cost
Mhm.
because there is something
Yeah.
which is or there's only one
Yeah.
piece or maybe two
Right.
pieces and things like that. So how
Right.
did you manage to get that into streamlined, because pricing is an important component for
Mhm.
any business. One
Mhm.
second thing is you're personalizing it, and
Mhm.
still to keep it sustainable as a business, how did you manage to do that?
So honestly, when I thought of this idea, when I did it for ourselves, I literally just got it printed at home and I just did it myself. But when we wanted to make it a business, I had to get a professional printer to do all of this. And that was the biggest challenge because I must have called about 100 printers, and everyone said that we can't do one piece. There is no
Right.
way we can do one piece. It just doesn't happen. We can't do die cuts and all of that. And some quotes that I got was absolutely ridiculous that I was like, this, I'm gonna get zero customers for this. So I think I went through a phase of saying, this is not gonna work out. I'm not gonna do this. But I didn't want to give up. I kept trying. And and actually my mom had a printing press back in 90s. So I kind of knew how the printing thing is, and I really wished at that point that she had her own printing press because that would have just made things so much easier. But she, obviously she didn't. She stopped that business. I think around when she turned 50, 55, she was like, "I'm done with working," and she sold off that business. I even called the company that we had sold them to because they were very, we're still in good terms and we talk and all of that. So they were also saying now we've deviated from printing to a different kind of thing. We don't do digital printing, which is what we need. So I went through a lot of Google and word of mouth and called a lot of companies. And luckily, I found 2, 3 companies who were ready to give it a shot. They were trying that we have not done this before, but we'll try it, and they were very helpful. So we did a lot of demos and a lot of samples, and some worked out, some didn't work out, where some the boards would crack, or the cards were too small, or the print. But after a lot of back and forth with some of the printing, and I didn't want to keep with just one printing press because then if they're busy, then we are stuck with orders because people have deadlines and I want to gift this by next week, and then we are stuck with that. We've had that issues also where you were with the printing and they don't have a schedule for us, and we've committed to the customer, so I'm running around all over Dubai to try to get it printed. But over time now, it's been a year and we've done quite a few orders luckily, and people are very happy with what we provide, and we've got a printer who we've dedicated now to, and he understands our needs and he knows what formats we need it in, so it's working out now. So yeah, but we always keep experimenting. That's the best part, because there's a lot of, each game is different. We don't go with one game only. We have many games that people can choose, so there are tokens and there's different parts to the game, so we always keep innovating and always coming up with different things. And now Raisin is so in, we can do so many customizations with 3D printers and raisins and stuff like that, so we can come up with
So what would be the minimum lead time? I mean, I know this, but for my audience, what is the minimum lead time from the time I approach you and say that, Rashi, I would like to do this? What is the minimum time that you would require?
So we've turned around. Yeah, so for cards game, we've turned around even in 3 days. But it was literally all-nighters for the customer and us, because each game is kind of, you can look at it as a photo album. And we need to get that information from the customer. And sometimes, customers, obviously, they need to find that many images, and they need to go through that effort of choosing the right ones, because in the end, it's what you give me makes the game special. And I know, and you know this because you went through the effort. I mean, the kind of effort you went through was incredible. I've never seen somebody go through so much dedication to finding the exact pictures of the right, and writing a caption for each one. Because
I had help. I had help. Let's be honest. But yes,
but still, it was a team effort, team family effort, which was incredible. I mean, I have never seen that much dedication.
The occasion was special, so we had to go by it. But but again, like, it was the personalizing which really appealed. And at this point, I have to say, I have to thank you and tell our audience also the kind of efforts that you put into creating those images, looking at the colors, the numbers, or whatever the way we wanted, the alignment. I think there was a lot of dedication from you which went into it. So are you doing this alone, Rashi, or is there somebody to help you with it?
So I'm mostly doing all of it alone. For the designing team, I have one person helping me with the design. He is part of the team and he helps me. And the printer itself is also very good because he does the aligning when he's printing it. So there is one person from the printing itself who is helping me with everything. So he does it. So, but mostly it's me back and forth with the design and the.
So because my question to you next would have been that if you're doing this alone, if you wanted to scale up, which is what everybody looks at some point, how would you really be able to find the time to do it, apart from the fact that you also have other business that you take care of? So how would that actually work in the
so no, I would, I mean, if required and if need be, I'll definitely get somebody on board with this. But, I do have, when I have to design or when I have to have multiple orders, I do outsource the designing part. That gets done. And then obviously I check it, and I have my own Photoshop skills that I can then edit it myself. I can get the basic design done, and then I will edit it. But it's manageable so far. We're able to do it. So, but
So
we
now,
definitely, yeah, we
sorry,
can
please go ahead.
definitely look at hiring at any moment. At this point, it's a one or two people thing, which is fine for now. Yeah,
So
because
now that
even
you,
we, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, because yeah.
Because even for corporates, we've done corporates, which is like orders of 50 or 100, and even that is okay for now. We are able to do that. Yeah. But because like you said, with the lead time, it depends on when they give us the product. And when they give us the product, it takes, if let's say I have 3 orders in one time, you've given me the order today and someone else takes 2 days to do it, then my time starts only once they give it to me. So in that 2 days, I'm able to do what the first customer has given me. So we kind of just plan it out like that. Yeah.
So Rashi, you said about your Photoshop skills, and some time back I wanted to know about your entrepreneurial, how it's been with you from your parents. You just told me that your mom was also an entrepreneur. Tell me more about what other skills and what kind of education did you go through, and
Um,
how did it prepare you for the real world as such?
so I did my schooling in Dubai till high school. I was here in Shuaifat. Then I went to the US and I did my undergrads in Boston from Babson College. I was there for 4 years. Then I worked in Chicago because I did want to get an experience outside of business, my own family business, to just see how the real world is. I worked in IBM. I worked in Merrill Lynch. I worked in a startup company in Chicago as a business development consultant, where I started a business from scratch, which was really, I think, the most beneficial for me, because it was a company that was not born yet, and I had to start from scratch of making the licensing happening and the marketing and the finance and the research, and all of that was on me. So I think that was a great experience that I got, because it was not a big name, but it was the most, I think, that I learned from that company. I was there for 2 years, and then I had to leave to go to my MBA. I mean, I wish I could continue there, but I wanted to do my MBA, and I got into in Chicago, in Illinois itself, for my MBA. So I went and I pursued that. And after I finished my MBA in finance and IT, I was in the US for 8 years, and I was away from family for so long, and I just wanted to come back. And my future goal was to start working my own business and do my own thing. So I felt like I'm done now. I want to go back. I mean, my parents kind of wanted me to continue my career in the US for a bit longer, but I was just, I've been there 8 years. I want to come back home. So I came back home. I joined my dad's business, which was in construction. And to be honest, that was not my thing. I mean, I was just not ready for the whole UAE heat and the construction sites and the dirt, and I was in a very different kind of atmosphere. So when I came back, I did continue doing that for about a year and a half. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with my dad a lot, but I wasn't passionate about construction, let's say. And then I had lots of different, I was more into the creative field, and I wanted to do something fun and like just something I was passionate about. So this whole mini golf thing came because I liked playing mini golf in the US as well, and there was no mini golf concept in Dubai, and there was a lot of golf. There was a lot of outdoor golf, but there was no mini golf. So I thought that would be a nice thing to bring here. So we did it in indoors, glow in the dark mini golf, which was really nice. So I started working on that, and yeah, and that's how my business career took off. And then with kids and all of that,
So
managed it. Yeah.
So actually, I'm very, you've brought a thought to my mind that nowadays everyone speaks about. One is that everywhere where I hear about college degrees are a waste, and like I am like, what do we academicians do after that if college degrees are a waste? That is. But what I want to ask you is, you said you went through the rigor of working with many companies, including a startup. and then you went for your MBA. So and now whereas the trend is that people finish their education and then straight away go into startups. They're, kind of, you just in the deep end of the pool and you learn how to swim. So which do you think has a better advantage over a long period of time, since you've been in a startup, you've seen, been working for others, and now the trend is of like this, that you just do a startup and learn as you go. What would you advise? Let's say some students of mine are watching this and they would like some advice from an entrepreneur. What would you tell them?
So I feel like having a degree never goes to waste. I would say, right, I learned a lot from my startup, and I used a lot of that in my MBA, and I graduated with honors. And I mean, I learned so much from the startup, more than in a big corporation. But having that degree of an MBA, it may not have. I mean, I may not have used it in UAE because I did my own business and I worked in a family. But if I was looking for work, and if even today, if I say I want to look for a job, having that degree in a prestigious college, or having a degree, or having a good master's degree, any master's degree, I think it just adds to that credibility. And I think the kind of confidence I built up having being in college, firstly, even not only education, but it's also about being independent and learning from so many other students. Learning, at that age, you are just starting your independence kind of career, and you are dealing with lots of people who have coming from different backgrounds, and learning to live with a roommate, and learning to cook, or coming from such a dependent and like a very protective background in UAE. I mean, with my parents, I think I wouldn't have gotten that kind of independence if I hadn't done my MBA, if I hadn't done my undergrads. And I think you don't just learn education. I mean, education is a big part of it, but you also self grow. And I think that only comes once you are in that atmosphere. You're learning from other people, and you're learning, every kid had their own issues, and, we all are family to each other. So, I think I grew so much as a person in those 2 years, by just as a self-confident person, by having doing that. So I feel like, if given a choice, I would never regret, and I will never tell anybody to not complete your education. I mean, you're going to be working for the rest of your life, so it's always there.
I know, I so agree. I think everybody should live in a hostel at least once in their lifetime. I totally agree with that. What about the second part of it? Should people work for others and, kind of go through that struggle of establishing themselves, or should they just start off on their own? What would be a good insight or a balance in this?
No, I think also having worked for someone else is also very important. You kind of get the best of both sides. Like, you will see what you do, and then you will also. I mean, we learn from everybody. So I think it's just it's very important to see that side of the world too. And now, if I ever have to go and work, I wouldn't be hesitant. I mean, starting a career at 40 would be very difficult if I hadn't done anything in the past. And not like I want to, but I'm like, if ever I am put in a situation where I have to look for work, at least I know what it's like having a boss, because till now I've been my own boss. And if I never had a boss on me, it would be very difficult to tune to that level, where you have to now work for somebody. So I think it's very important for even your humbleness to be where you are not your own boss and you have to work for somebody else. But building that relationship is also important. So
I really like that, and I like your attitude of learning, Rashi, because I think that's what you're constantly ready to learn, which I think is an attitude which we all should always have with us. So what does Giftopoly look like in next 5 years?
So we definitely want to keep doing on keep growing it on the different games. And I definitely want to add more corporate feel to it, because I feel like we're very focused on individuals at the moment. We want to reach out to companies. We want to make it fun for the staff, for the employees as well. We've done a few for now, and we want to grow it to a major scale on that. and yeah, and keep innovating. At this point, we always come up with different ways to have fun, to make it fun for everybody.
So an interesting question which I wanted to ask you is that I play Scrabble. Though Scrabble is a board game, I play Scrabble on my iPad.
Mhm.
I don't know, something has changed, and it was a paid app, by the way. So,
Mhm.
and something recently has changed, and I don't know what's up with it. So, what do you think? Would you would you think about extending your product portfolio to taking where the personalizing can happen on the? I mean, would that help your work business if you decided to go the app way, or would it only or touch and feel is important in your line of
Um,
business?
Actually, we've had inquiries where people wanted an app personalized for them. But to be honest, like you were saying about scaling up, or, maybe that's something in the future we can do, can get an app developer hired in. But at this point, to get an app for one person is going to be quite expensive. So it's not something we'll be able to do at the moment. But in the future, I mean, considering app is the new way to go, everyone wants everything on the phone. um, you know, um, we were looking at different ways how we can take a picture of the actual board game and transfer it to your phone and have it played with other people who are not sitting. Like, for example, your kids are in the US. Maybe you want to play a game with them, it through the phone, but it's personalized to you. I mean, I would say nothing is impossible. And the way the day and age and digital world is going ahead, we are not going to limit ourselves to just physical board games, but we would like to add it to the digitization of these board games. But at the moment, we don't have the resources. But I don't think that's impossible. I think in the next few years, I mean, something might come up, something might get invented where we can do this. So I'm definitely
Yeah,
going to
so
open my mind to it.
right. So having said that, the trend recently, I've been watching a lot of social media posts where people want to print their digital photographs. And we have
Mhm.
done that time and again, taken a set of
Mhm.
photographs and printed them so that we could look at it in
Mhm.
leisure, or, like I said, the touch and feel part of
Mhm.
it. And which also brings me to when we play the game, and, or we are doing the puzzle, you look at the picture and then you talk about it and something
Mhm.
else related to it. So
Yeah.
it's a whole lot of memories which go
Mhm.
associated with it, which I don't know if we can actually replicate in the digital
On
platform.
Yeah,
So,
so it would be a complementary thing, I would say. People would still want the physical thing to carry and hold. And even when you play Uno on, because I can play with my daughter on the phone Uno, there is a regular Uno app that you can play with the person sitting next to you on the bed. But having that actual game where you throw the card down and you pick it up, and I think physically it's a lot more fun than just playing it on that, because you're constantly on your phone anyway.
yeah,
I want my child to be away from the phone for some time,
yeah.
and I think the interaction which you have when you play the physical game is completely different. But when there is something which is not an option, and if somebody is sitting in a different country, then we can look at it as a complementary thing. But I think the idea of physical will never go away. It's always going to be an add-on. It's always going to be something that you may want it as well. But having, even for books, I feel the same way. With the Kindle and iPad books coming out, a physical book sometimes is always just so much better. I mean, I tell my child, read
Yes.
a physical book and turn the page, learn how to turn the page, and as opposed to just flicking it with your finger all the time. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So one of the important questions for me in this segment is that how do you track your marketing? What do you do? How do you track what kind of marketing campaigns? So let us start with where are you available? Which
Mhm.
you have a website, and tell
Yeah.
me more about
So
it, and then how do you track it? Yeah.
we started off with Instagram. We first thing was Instagram. We first platform that we used was Instagram and Facebook, and then we made a website, a very basic website as of now. And We don't really have a CRM program at the moment, but we use Excel to track all the customers that have come in, inquiries and everything. We have a database through that. We will implement a CRM program shortly, but at the moment, our website is able to track. It's got a mini program at the back, which just kind of gives us like people visiting and how many visits, and the email and all of that. Because when someone sends an inquiry, automatically that gets fed into the database. So we have a database that we are tracking. and followers and all of that. But CRM at the moment we don't have. We do, because I had previous businesses, we do have a big database that we, send out mailing campaigns and all of that too. So we're using that at the moment. But yeah, that's how we have a website and social media.
Okay. Very interesting question that about email campaigns, because mostly when you ask the recipient, they'll say that emails are so boring, we don't even look at it and we just eliminate. But I really believe that email can be used. And because a simple thing, we don't delete an email immediately. You will probably keep it in your inbox for a while and you may look at it. So there is always a chance. And I also believe that the email needs to be interesting for the person to actually open it. What kind of emails do you send? Are they automated, or do you have? Tell me more about your emails.
Yeah, so they're mostly we send out a schedule, when the emails will be sent out, and it will be more for promos. Like, for example, like we have a summer offer, or we have like a special game introduced, or we have some new concept coming in. It'll be most on those information, and most of it will have links to our directed to our Instagram, so they immediately they can open the Instagram page and see all the images of what we have done. So a lot of it is redirection, and the title is usually catchy, like gifting, like for example gift offer, or personalized gifts. And when you say personalized gifts, you usually end up checking what it is, because anything with personalized is a very nice, like a very common thing right now. I think people love personalizing anything and everything. I mean, I personalize literally everything for my child, from towels to to bottles. And yeah,
that is right. Personalized is and handmade. Those are things which are really
exactly,
very
which is very nice.
Right. Do you use any hashtags?
Yeah, like we have about 5 or 6 common ones that we for our thing, which is customized gift, corporate gifting, customized board games.
No, for your company, do you have any hashtags?
So ours is just hashtag Giftopoly.
Giftopoly. Do you write a blog, Rashi?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And right. So that's what I just wanted to know. What about LinkedIn? Do you have a page for your company on LinkedIn?
No, for company LinkedIn, we don't have. I have my own personal LinkedIn account, but I don't have a company one at the moment.
So there is a lot of stats now about that company pages are also viewed, and they are very popular and growing, because it is like, let's say that LinkedIn it establishes credibility. Like I always say this about website, that it establishes credibility. The same thing is applicable for LinkedIn also, that it establishes credibility in terms of, that it's the CEOs who are there, and, people who are genuine people. Yes, there are some Autobots and stuff, but majority LinkedIn makes sure that their platform is very professional. So having a LinkedIn page, I've seen a lot of success stories. So maybe we'll look forward to having seeing your LinkedIn page.
We did have a LinkedIn for my mini golf, which my social media team was handling. And to be honest, I was never involved with my social media team, because we had a team of 2 people who were doing all the Insta and everything for the mini golf. And when we closed down mini golf, we closed down all those pages, unfortunately. But I actually didn't think of Giftopoly, and that's a very good idea, that I should actually start one for LinkedIn.
Right. And actually, if you look at it, LinkedIn has also moved on from a job searching platform to actually becoming a place where people are networking. Earlier it was just recruiters, and you just had your CV resume out there and stuff like that. So it has moved on where you can make your presence felt in a very credible manner. And so LinkedIn has changed its positioning, let's say, from where it was. So I would really look forward to that. So before we sign off, 2 things from you. One, a message for any entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs or students who are watching this, who would like to become their own bosses someday. And second, could you share what mantra that you live by, if there is any single or 1 or 2 things which you live by for yourself?
For me, the one thing that I always live with is always have hope. There is always, if one door closes, there's going to be another door open for you some way or the other. I never give up. because when my mini golf closed down, I mean, immediately I thought of something else and I got myself busy in that. So I always have hope. I feel like the life can get you down many times, but always find a way to get up and always look for the opportunity that is at your door. There is always something out there for you. That's the mantra I live by. And for the young students and even for budding entrepreneurs, life's not easy, and it doesn't come in a silver platter for you. Once you're done with college, the real world is may look very fun, very exciting, but it has its challenges. And I would just say, don't give up. Always keep looking always have an aim in life, always strive for your goal, and keep looking forward. Um, is what I, what
Thank
I
you
would
so much. Thank you so much, Rashi. And your message of hope and never give up is so important. And I really appreciate the time that you have spent with me here. Have a lovely day, and I'll meet you offline. And we will continue our gifting business together. Thank you
definitely.
very
Thank
much.
you so much for having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you.